Good morning, everyone. It's Yvonne here. Thank you so much for joining us for another Mornings with Mayesh. Our very own flower expert, David Dawson, is our guest today. And boy, does he have some treats for you guys. David has set up 18 new rose varieties to share with you. We're always searching for the latest and greatest, so I'm excited to share these roses with you today. Just a little warning, if you were listening to the podcast replay, obviously not right now, but in a couple of days, you may want to switch over and watch the video replay for the best experience, since today's show is going to be very visual. Before we get started, say hello, let us know where you are from. We always love seeing those types of things. Also, as a friendly reminder, if you have any questions for us today, be sure to post those in our comments and we'll get to them as time permits. And then also, I had a few things that I wanted to cover with you before David comes on with the new rose varieties. First, I wanted to make sure that you heard about our customer appreciation giveaway that we just launched. We teamed up with an amazing marketing agency, Fresh Path Marketing, to give away 20 marketing workshops. So you can select from 5 different packages that's going to be offered in each round. We're doing 4 rounds throughout the next year, more than a year. And then for each, the first round is on its way right now. And the first 5 winners are going to be announced July 1st. So there's a whole lot more information for you guys to get involved with that. So I'm going to share the link in the comments. Make sure you check that out after the show. It's really, really exciting. Each package, I believe, is worth about $500 too. So this is a really cool thing. And we just want to, again, share our love with you guys. We love you so much. I hope you know that we truly mean that. I say that a lot on this show. So check that out. We want to love you guys up over the next 12 months or so. So check that out. Okay, next thing that I wanted to make sure that you guys know about is Edelman's Peonies has officially hit Mayesh.com. We love this season. We love peony season in general, but Edelman's is a fan favorite. So again, I'm going to put that link in the comments for you guys so that way you can check it out. Actually, let me do peonies and then the link. There we go. All right, so check that out. Next up is I wanted to make sure that if you are going to AIFD Symposium that's coming up end of June, beginning of July, that you mark it in your calendars to make sure you visit us at the partner showcase, and also look for our flowers in Sue McCleary's stage presentation called Flower Forward. Also, our CEO, Patrick Dawson, will be a part of the Dig Deep Roots panel discussion. So if you want more information on AIFD, the symposium coming up, I am going to put the link in there for that as well. And then last but not least, did you guys hear about our opening of our 21st branch? Yes, guys, we are opening another branch in Charleston, South Carolina. It was not too long ago that we announced the opening of Raleigh. So we're just on a roll here, guys. So we're planning on opening in Charleston late this year. Everything depends on the cooler, guys. So just stay tuned for more details. And with that said, I am going to bring on David and we're going to get started.
Good
Hey, David.
morning.
Good
Good morning.
morning. How are you?
Great, thank you. Very good. Very excited to present a lot of new rose varieties, a lot of activity in the rose sector.
Yes, I'm
Uh,
excited to do that too. But before we get into your roses, David, I know you just went to Ecuador. Can you share a little bit about your trip and what you did there?
yeah, so I was in Ecuador for days. Actually, the main reason my visit was we are partnering with a grower there to grow some premium ranunculus in Illinois. So I was over there to supervise grading, packing. So we try to get the ranunculus up to European standards. Because currently, some of the farms that we've been receiving from, we're getting sort of what I would call a lower grade. So I'm very optimistic in about another month or so, we should have some really phenomenal cloney ranunculus, and as well as the other varieties. and especially Hanoi. So very excited about that. I also went to see a few rose farms. I can tell you the weather there is atrocious. I mean, very, very cold, a lot of rain, and yeah, it's definitely hampering production of roses in particular.
Good to know. The ranunculus piece is super exciting. And
Yes, it
today
is.
yeah, yeah, very, very exciting. And then today you have some new rose varieties to share with us. So, what is up first?
Okay, well, I'm going to start. First of all, I would just like to thank the our vendors. We have many vendors, way more than I can ever have in one showcase. But I would like to thank the vendors who sent their samples: Ponte Tresa in Ecuador, Rosa Prima in Ecuador, Agri Rose in Ecuador, and Alexandra Farms in Colombia, and Milagro Farms also in Colombia. I'd like to thank them very much for the wonderful assistance they provided for this showcase. So first up, I'd like to start. This is a new category, really, coming into its own. These are what we call garden spray roses. The flowers tend to be larger than the regular spray roses we've become accustomed to. Um, I'm in two minds about these. Some of them are a bit big, a bit dense, um, but all our great designers out there, they can probably put these to great use. They do have quite a lot of value. So without further ado, I'd like to start off with our first selection. This is called Blanche. This is from Alexandra Farms. This is a beautiful white spray rose. Has about 4 to 5 blooms per stem. Makes a very nice iridescence, and is pure snow white. It comes 10 stems in a bunch, so you get a you get almost 40 roses in one bunch. Again, up to designers how to use. Could be a little bit dense, and a lot of them have the little buds. I know this is popular. Personally, if it was me, I'd be inclined to just get rid of that because it's drawing energy from the principal flowers. But very nice, opens fully to the corona with time. Quite attractive, almost like a David Austin iceberg rose. Very nice.
What was the variety called, David?
This is called Blanche. We get a little close up for you there.
Is it spelled like Blush?
It's spelt like Blanche in a streetcar named Desire. That's Blanche.
Blanche. Okay, got it. I was like, I know I'm not hearing it correctly. All right, thank you.
Well, I was doing the French Blanche. I guess it's Blanche, I guess, like you do with potatoes.
Right.
Okay. Next up, another one from Alexandra Farms. This is called Princess Fairy Kiss. A very nice muted pink, almost like Hanoi. Again, uh, several flowers per stem. This not quite as many as Blanche. This is 3 to 4, but a very pretty rose. Um, good stems. It's quite erect, and the color, in a very pale pink, like pink myolica, or getting close to the Hanoi tones. A little bit darker on the outside. I find this to be very attractive rose. This is Princess Fairy Kiss. Get a little close up of that one for you.
It's beautiful.
Very nice, right? Okay, next I'd like to go to some selections from Ponte Tresa. This one, very large bloomed. I mean, you can see my hand, quite large, 3 to 4 flowers per stem, good strong stems. Um, Again, could be two some purposes, but I think in larger arrangements it could find its place. It has that very nice garden rose aspect, which I think with a little manipulation, I think you could get it even more open. This one is a very hardy variety. Um, and takes a while to open, but I think everyone would agree that's a very pretty rose. These are available now. All the varieties I'm showing you are available unless I say otherwise, but these are available now to order from your shipping department or your local Mayesh locations. Wedding Rose Ever Pink.
That's great to know. Yeah, we just had a question come in from Michelle saying, when are these varieties expected to be available? So, yes, they're available now. You can talk to your
Yes.
sales rep about them.
I mean, they're new, they're limited, but if you order with, a couple of weeks, like your usual notice, we should be able to get these for you without a problem. Here's one I particularly like. Um, has a lot of sprays. Now you can go two ways with this because the laterals, as you can see, 7 to 8 inches long. You could divvy these up and use them in low arrangements, like table arrangements for weddings or events, or use them whole. What I like about the whole thing is the flowers are quite heavy, but they have a very loose, natural, like an actual garden rose, slightly nodding, arching, and great for sort of bucolic country arrangements, wildflower arrangements, and very charming rose. Not for every situation. It does get a little damage on the outside, but as the petals reflex, that just disappears. You will not notice it. But the aspect, I think, I mean, you can see that very charming, very relaxed, which I think is a feature that a lot of our customers are looking for wedding work. I'd like to do a close up there. This is called,
What
what
is
is
it
this
called, David?
called? Wedding Pink Jewel. And this is from Ponte also. Wedding Pink
Wedding
Jewel.
Wedding Pink Jewel.
Yeah,
Great.
Ponte has come up with a whole line called Jewel series of these sort of large style garden sprays, is what we're calling them.
Very good. And then the rose before this, the pink one, was Wedding Rose Ever.
Wedding Rose Ever. Yes,
Great.
nice. And last but not least, from Ponte here's a very elegant, somewhat more erect garden spray rose. Again, these take a little while to develop. Um, Probably for finishing touch, you will want to manipulate these a little to get a little more sort of open aspect. But again, very pretty and different from the spray roses we've been getting, which tend to be more sort of a pointy look. These are more in line with the garden roses that we've enjoyed now for several years. This one is called, what is this one called? This is called Garden Bridal Jewel. Very nice. Very nice. Bridal Jewel.
Very beautiful. And just so you guys know, I'm taking notes as we're going, and David will make sure double check all of my text too, in terms of spelling and things like that. But I'm writing all of this down. David will give me a list as well, and we'll make sure that this is included in the show notes up on our blog that's posted in a day or two, so that way you guys have something to reference.
Okay, so those were garden spray roses. Now we're going to garden roses. Um, this is a fabulous rose, fairly new from Alexandra, France. It is available now, and this is called Princess Aiiko. Quite a heavy bloom as the are somewhat thin, so you get this slightly arching look. To me, I think this is a great attribute for garden roses because it really has the characteristic of sort of nodding like on a rose bush, maybe heavy from morning dew. But this aspect great for arrangements maybe that go up higher, and then you can really see the roses. A lot of times with higher arrangements, perhaps at receptions or in churches, you can't because the flowers are all pointing up. So this certainly has its place. I think everyone will agree this color, absolutely sensational, deep peach. Really, I mean, it's a really sensual color coming from the center of this. And it's important to remember with this, a lot of newer roses now, what you see is not what you get. So when they're tight, and I have the example here. So this is Princess Aiiko uh, in the package, and it doesn't really give you a sense of how it's going to develop. And I think it's important. A lot of these new roses do a little trial and make sure it's going to harmonize with the palette or the color scheme of your design or wedding or what have you. This is Princess Aiko, and I think, I mean, to me, that's everything you would like in a flower: romance, sensuality, and gorgeous color. Princess Aiko from Alexandra Farms. Get a quick close up of that one. Very beautiful rose.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
Okay, here we have some garden roses from another of our top suppliers. Again, I like this. It has that nodding aspect. The stems here are a little stronger. This is Eugenie or Eugenia, but Eugenie. This is a David Austin rose. Um, what I like about this David Austin rose is the centers are very informal, very relaxed. I have that beautiful, subtle, delicate shell pink tinge in the middle, and a glorious rose. I think you can see quite large. That's my hand, quite large compared to my hand. And I mean, look at that. That's everything you want in a flower. In this shade, pale blush pink. This is Eugenie. It's a hard word to say, man. Very old woman's name, Eugenie, from Ponte Tresa. And after that, we have another selection. Excuse my telephone. After that, we have another selection from, not Ponte Tresa. These are from Rosa Prima, excuse me. Rosa Prima in Colombia. This is another David Austin variety, fairly new. David Austin is advertising this as an off-white and ivory, but to me, it definitely has notes of cream. I think you can see this is wide open. It does open quite quickly, so good for events. And one thing I will say with David Austin roses, if at all possible, never remove the guard petals. As the outer rim of petals here, the cup holds the whole rose together. And I think I did clean one or two, and as you can see, you get a little bit of petal drop. So yes, with David Austin roses, do not remove the guard petals. I would say this is a French vanilla, has slight notes of cream in it, almost pale, pale yellow. But I think the form, fully double corded, is sensational. The outside is pure white. As you can see, the inside um, is somewhat creamy. So you would need to take that into account when considering for your event or wedding. This is Leonora from Rosa Prima, David Leonora. Thank you.
So,
Next up, yes.
before we go to the next up, I don't know if you know the answer to this question, David, but someone was asking if these will be available online through Meyesh Direct Box Lots. Do you know?
As and when available, it's I mean, they go into the inventory, but it's as as with that come first served. So
Right.
you, you might some of these new varieties you may really because uh, they do go in there, but they come out pretty quick as well.
Awesome.
And in some cases they never make it because uh, their treatment from the growers, uh, may not allow it to get into the inventory. So yes, certainly look. I know some of them are there, but some of them also will not be there for sure.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. So here we have another selection from Alexandra Farms. Beautiful light pink, very nice, very full. This is also a Japanese variety in the Wabara series. This is called Sumugi. Has this really beautiful swirling sort of cyclone uh, construction of the petals. Very hardy, um, clean for a blush pink of a garden rose caliber. Has almost no damage to the outside of the petals. So it is, even though it looks incredibly sort of delicate, almost like porcelain china. I mean, this is a very strong rose, and I can definitely recommend it for wedding work. Has beautiful, sort of pointy, what can I say, crests, almost like waves in this, and a sensational rose. And this definitely available now. Again, may not be in the direct box slots every day, but I know I have seen it in there. Beautiful rose, opens almost to the corona, incredibly strong, and I can really recommend this for wedding work, event, and probably for, you could probably put this in someone's house on a weekly account because it has a very good vase life. Is Sumugi, that's spelled Tsumugi, Sumugi from Alexandra Farms in Colombia. Next up, another selection from Alexandra Farms. This one is called Princess Maya. Again, very beautiful, pale peach, almost like peach ice cream or something. Very delicate color. When you first see it, what you see again with these new roses is not what you get. It's quite different when you see it tight. So again, you have to let it open to reveal its beauty. So when you're designing, always take this into account with a lot of these new roses. And as it opens, it goes very pale. I mean, think about it. It goes from this to this. Um, but I mean, absolutely gorgeous. And that color that is originally you see in the middle, you might think it's a bottle. As the rose opens, it gently, like, it just gently infuses throughout the whole rose to get, excuse me, to get you that very beautiful, delicate pink. I'm a big fan of these, hardy, generally strong, good petal construction so they don't fall apart. Uh, really great rose. This is Princess Maya, another great garden rose from Alexandra Farms. And closing out the garden rose department, here is a very beautiful, subtle rose. This is called Cafeole. This is grown by Milagro Farms in Colombia. A really beautiful variety. This is grown by 4 farms in South America, one in Colombia and 3 in Ecuador, and they're grown exclusively for Mayesh. And we think this is an absolutely beautiful rose. I must say it's really for events and wedding work, 1 day affairs, because it tends to open 3, 4, 5 days, and then that's about it. But I don't believe there's anything more subtle in the market. It's a very complex, muddy tones, somewhat dirty, they call them, of coffee, of brown, of silk almost. And the Cafe Ole name, I think, says it all. It has hues of beige, cafe, hints of lavender, very complex. But I see a lot of our customers now working towards much more complex color palettes, very subtle contrast of color, and this certainly works into that. So I can highly recommend this. And as I said, uh, there is one grower in Africa, so we can control that. But generally speaking, the ones coming to South America, this is a Mayesh exclusive, and I do hope you take advantage of it. And this certainly you will find in direct box lots. Cafeole from Milagro Farms.
I love that.
I like one of my favorites too. Really, and as it opens, you get more and more. It gives you more and more. So when having for that event, you want to time it so it's a perfect point in your wedding or whatever composition you are using. So that closes out the garden rose segment. I do have one variety here that sort of segues from garden rose to regular roses. This is a bit of a new variety. Has a horrible name, I'm going to tell you, and it's but it's something really different. And so I'd like to introduce to you. This is a rose called Veggie. It's green, looks somewhat ugly, like especially when you get it in the package. It's a green ball, somewhat ugly, but opens somewhat slowly. But I can tell you that when it opens fully, it's absolutely sensational. And I would think of it not so much as a rose, but think of it more like these sort of old English varieties of clematis. And this thing, it's not fully open and they reflex completely. So you get a very classic old English clematis look. Uh, in the half open stage, people are reminded of peonies. And you can see it has all these subtle beige and pink tones in the middle, and this really crazy corona of sort of calyx material in cream. So this is called Veggie. I don't expect this will be in direct box slots for a while. Um, it's taking off with a few ones. I mean, it's just starting now. We expect to see it in full production by the fall. But a great new rose. This is from Agri Rose in Ecuador. Veggie for your consideration.
Very cool. I love that. Can you do a close up of that one more time? And
Yeah,
guys,
we'll do another
yeah,
close up.
yeah. Um, Jill's asking who grows it, and you mentioned Agro Rose, correct?
This one is from Agri Rose. There are several growers, including mostly we deal with them. Uh, Milagro has it in Colombia. Green Rose has it also in Ecuador, and there are a couple of other supplies. So we expect by the fall, by early fall, September, October, we should be able to get this. And on a special order with 2, 3 weeks notice, we will be able to procure this for you. So moving to your regular hybrid tea roses. Um, Here's a new one from Rosa Prima. Rosa Prima is the only grower of this. They have an exclusive on it. Beautiful pale pink. Like if you're matching up with your pale Hanois and you want that most tender, delicate of shell pinks, certainly this is a rose to consider. I should say um, it is very pink. I don't know if you can see that. It's very pink, and I've taken off the guard petals for this, so it's quite dark pink on the outside. Um, this rose doesn't open a lot, so it's definitely a rose that I would remove all the guard petals so you get some activity. You probably will want to manipulate a little with your fingers after 2 or 3 days of it opening. Um, I also I also like to blow gently in the center. That sort of naturally pops it open. And another thing you can do with your tighter roses, remove a petal from in the interior, and that will loosen some of the roses inside, the petals inside, to give you a little more activity and loosen it somewhat so it can relax and open more. But all in all, I would say this does not open that much. Here we go with a close up, but this is Lady Eva, quite the exquisite pale pink. Lady Eva from Rosa Prima in Ecuador. Here's a fairly new rose, not that common, only a few growers in Ecuador, but I think fascinating rose in your sort of faith, in your faith sort of color scheme, sort of pale mauve, pink rose, has a wonderful spiral with undulating petal edges, uh, incredibly natural, and the color is very scarce. You know, you only see this in Faith, perhaps Secret Garden, um, and very, very pretty rose. This is called Jeanette. This is another sample example from um, Agri Rose. Quite pretty, hints of lavender, mauve, especially darker mauve towards the edge. Again, in my opinion, this kind of rose that has a lot of petals, you always want to take off the guard petals so that it can relax and open. And very hardy rose, strong. Probably could use this in a weekly. It will, with time, open to the corona, and I find this attractive. Jeanette with a G, Nettee, Jeanette.
Thanks for spelling that because I did not spell it that way.
I figured. All right, changing up the tone, going a little more tropical, as it were. This is a rose. I probably don't even need this. It's probably a bit high. This is Bogot. Again, these are one of these new roses. When you see it tight, you're not going to think of it like this. So this is how it looks when you get it. Just a little peach in the middle. Again, I would recommend removing the guard petals. But as it opens, you get this sensational peach color. Takes me back to my youth when I used to have tequila sunrises, and you have the grenadine infused on the outside and the orange juice in the middle. I
Yes.
mean, beautiful, beautiful flower. It is dark on the outside, but if you're using them in your sort of pave arrangements, you will be seeing peach. And I think this is an adventurous rose. I know a lot of our designers don't like to use these things with sort of complex colors, but in this case, I would have to make an exception. It is really wonderful. And when it opens, you get a very good peach color, but it has that subtlety, with that sort of hot pink. So you can draw in other colors, other shades of pink, perhaps mauve, even blues and yellows will be appropriate. So you can get, quite exotic with this. Probably wonderful for sort of exuberant fall compositions as well. This is called Bogot, like in Humphrey Bogart, Bogart. Bogot from Agri Rose in Ecuador. Please do excuse my phone. I turned it off, so I don't know why it's ringing, but who knows how these things work.
It's because you're live right now, and so
Yeah,
it
yeah,
decided to
yeah.
turn its back on, and
Right,
everyone's gonna call you.
right. Okay, here's a rose. Actually, this is an old rose. Um, this comes from Agri Rose. I'm going to say around 2005. He was going on the owner was going on a trip to Europe. I say if you see anything in gold, bronze, gold, grab it. Anything dirty in that vein, and he back with Combo and Capriccio. Um, of course, I think Combo very popular, although quite scarce. But to me, this is possibly even more sensational. Now, when it comes in the package, when you see it tight, it looks like a gaudy yellow. But as it opens, you get this wonderful dirty mustard, reminiscent of a 19th century rose called Gloire de Dijon. Very informal, very strong. This you could put in a weekly and not sweat it at all. This will take you 9, 10 days from when you take it from the package. It opens very slowly. You would want to order a little earlier if you're using for a wedding because it takes its time to slow and you really can't force it. But that's my hand. I mean, it's a large rose. Opens quite pave, starts quite chunky. You can see here. I mean, look, Koch is yellow, but as it goes, some of these gold tones are drawn out from the center, and really, this is, I mean, a rose, yes, very underappreciated, but in my opinion, best roses out there, one of the best value. This is called Capriccio. 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 Uh, to me, still one of the great roses, totally underappreciated. But I can definitely, if you're going in this direction of golds, I can really highly, strongly urge you to consider this Capriccio. As there is only one grower, you will need to pre-order this in advance. Sensational Capriccio from Agri Rose. Okay, here is a sensational new rose um, from Rosa Prima's, brand new. This will not be available until August, but we will have them in August. Rosa Prima has offered to give us, and we accepted gladly to get some boxes of these each week. This is a rose called Moab, like in the Bible or the town in Utah, Moab. I mean, look at this. This is a beautiful rose. It's large. Um, compared to my hand, very large. It's not the coffee color of Cafeole. It has a little more sparkle in terms of colors of pink, lavender, bronze, a little bit of barista in there, that color, a sparkling rose, hints of lavender throughout. But it is probably 70 to 100% twice the size of Cafe Ole. So it definitely is it's an attention getter. Uh, we're going to give you a close up of that. Really nice rose. It's large. That's barely going to fit in the camera. Opens very nicely at a medium pace. So, you can bring in Tuesday, Wednesday, and it will be in this stage by your Saturday wedding. Um, you can see in contrast, you do get a couple of tones, but I think they're harmonious in the same bunch. Um, but as they open, they get closer and closer to matching each other. So this is Moab from Rosa Prima. As I said, available starting August, end of July, August.
So pretty.
Very pretty. And last but not least, this is probably my favorite new rose. It's been out probably 3, 4 months now. Once in a while, it is in the box lots. This is called Ali, Aly. It is like the garden roses from the 1950s, a little throwback, very reminiscent of those high pointed teas. But I mean, it gives you a great look that's different from the sort of Austin look. This is more your pointed, old fashioned, hark back to the 19th century first hybrid teas like La France. Absolutely amazing color of like your damask linens go fabulous with someone who's perhaps having an off-white silk dress for their wedding gown. Beautiful, opens and opens and opens. And the kicker for this, sensation, I can't say enough, sensational lemon perfume. I mean, you put this to your nose, you are fully rewarded, like the chefs. I mean, absolutely divine rose to me. Color, very muted. If you're a Gilbert and Sullivan fan, it has the puce tone, beige top, little bit variation from here to there that you expect in a garden rose. But this is a modern hybrid tea. It is very strong, very strong. Now, again, just like to point out, when they come in, very dark pink guard petals like this. But again, I remove these, and as it opens, it goes from this tone to these amazing, pale, delicate colors, hues, a cross perhaps between Vandella with a smudge of the dirtiness of Quicksand. Sensational rose. Let's get a close up of that. This is Ali. I think you have to agree. The scent, though, I think is the one thing that really is the touching crowning glory of this rose. And quite frankly, I find it very, very beautiful. Do you like the fragrance? Yes. Yes. Yeah, at least my assistant agrees. So very good. So there you have it. 18 new roses to consider, um, with the exception of Moab, which will be coming end of July. These are all available with a pre-order, and some will be in direct box slots. Again, I'd like to thank Ponte Tresa, Milagro, Alexandra Farms, Rosa Prima, and AgriRose for their contributions, and we always appreciate our relationships with them over the years. There you have it.
Thanks, David. And of course, when we're ending, there's delivery people out in front of my house. So Remy's saying hi to you guys as well. He loved the roses. So everyone that's watching, what are your favorites? Like, David, if you had to pick one favorite, what would it be?
Well, I think I'm going to say this is my absolute favorite because to me, roses that have fragrance. I mean, that's to me what a flower is all about. Because to this day, if you give roses to a woman, their instinct is always to smell them. And today, much like tomatoes, you get nothing but a kick in the teeth. This one rewards your olfactory senses, and it's truly a wonderful rose. But I think and then second after that would be the Moab Sensational and Capriccio. I think glorious rose due to its really unique color and informal disposition. But this one with the fragrance, and unlike these garden roses that have fragrance, this is a very strong rose, very robust. So I hope you will consider that, Ali.
I love it. Guys, look for Ali. Let us know what you think when you try these new varieties. We always love feedback from you guys. And this was such an amazing show. Thank you so much, David, for doing this for us, putting it all together.
My pleasure. And don't forget to contact your local sales associate or your representative who handles shipping, or look in direct box lots and really take advantage of these great new roses. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, David. That's a wrap on today's show. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. This month, our Mayesh design star, Dalen Rivera, will be back. And I'm also going to have Melanie of Fresh Path Marketing. She's going to be joining me on June 21st. So mark your calendars and stay tuned for more details, and keep on sending in your floral questions. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have an amazing day, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.